So you go toward the one that, is widely recognizable and, has years of experience in whatever area that they've been around for. So a brand conveys a message of what your company will provide to the customer. It provides value. It means how long you've been around or how long you've been doing whatever you've been doing. Trust, when you become an authority of what you do and you earn that trust. Whenever I see an Apple logo, it's like, okay, I know what I'm getting. I'm getting a good product, except for when they start charging you for cables and stuff, then So what is a brand? So a brand entails a company's distinct identity and narrative, setting it apart from rivals offering the same products or services. The aim of branding is to establish a presence within the minds of intended audience and emerge as a favorite choice of engaging in transactions or services. So whenever you see a logo, whenever you see a double arches, golden arches, McDonald's, or you see a Target, like a red Target, oh, it's Target, or like these logos, you automatically know what products you're going to get. And you tend to go toward those items because, you don't want knockoffs, or you go to a grocery store, it's like, oh, do I want Great Value or do I want Kellogg's? Okay, which one do I want? So you go toward the one that, is widely recognizable and, has years of experience in whatever area that they've been around for. So a brand conveys a message of what your company will provide to the customer. It provides value. It means how long you've been around or how long you've been doing whatever you've been doing. Trust, when you become an authority of what you do and you earn that trust. Whenever I see an Apple logo, it's like, okay, I know what I'm getting. I'm getting a good product, except for when they start charging you for cables and stuff, then I'm against that. It highlights and fulfills customer needs. Whenever you see you're looking for something, you look for a specific logo because it's going to fulfill a need that you have. So jumping into tax. So whenever you see like H&R Block, TurboTax, Liberty, they're known for having their Liberty tax people stand outside dressed in Statue of Liberty. So you know who they are. Jackson Hewitt, you know these companies, their logos, and sometimes they come out the top of the list on the search engine. So what is branding? So branding is a process of creating a brand identity of a company. This process also delivers materials that support the brand, like a logo, a tagline, visual design, or tone or voice. Translates to print and digital. So whenever you have your logo, whenever you have your marketing, it goes into your stationery, it goes into your shirt, it goes into your whatever you want to put your logo into, so you could identify you. So the difference between branding and marketing, because people confuse, they're both intertwined, but they're all different. So branding develops the identity of the company, provides background and story, tactics that enforce identity, purpose of your company, brings attention and how the audience feels about the company. Marketing is taking that logo, taking those colors and creating campaigns, actions, methods of deployment and connect the company with goals of company missions. Whenever you do a flyer, it's like, yeah, I'm going to slap my logo there so people know, okay, this company, XYZ tax, whatever. Creates trust with actions, strategy that supports a company, enhances the brand narrative through targeted tactics. So question, who are you and what makes you special? So when I interview clients for branding, I want them to be aware of who they are and what they bring to the table. Many times they themselves do not know where they're at in their business. Oops, sorry, there's a typo there. This happens with new tax preparers and even seasoned tax preparers. So these are some of the questions that I normally ask a new client who's trying to develop their image. And I'll ask them, well, how long have you been in business? What do you specialize in? That's where they, like the majority of them get stuck in. Why do taxes? Okay, well, what kind of taxes? All kinds of taxes, or I don't know yet. Okay, so, or I'll ask, who are your main clients? What's your niche? They don't know, or they already have their head on straight. I know what I'm doing. I'm trying, I take care of firefighters, or I do, armed servicemen, or whatever it is, or demographics. Are you targeting more Spanish speaking, or a certain type of, demographic and location? Is this going to be in a physical office or online? So these are important questions that even if you're not doing branding, you should be asking yourself to establish your company. So I'm just a tax preparer. Why should I care about branding? So if you're an established company, firm, entity, and you don't have a logo or any kind of branding, one of the questions is, do you really want to get clients or referrals? Do you want to stand out from the rest of the tax companies in your area? Do you convey that you are someone that they should trust with their taxes with? What level of professionalism are you bringing to the table? I went to this networking event a while back ago, and I was talking to this guy, and he was like, okay, I do this and this. I'm like, oh, and I was very interested. Oh, do you have a business card? Oh, wait a minute. Give me 1 second. He grabs a napkin and writes his number. I was like, dude, I thought you knew your stuff. I thought you had a company. It's like, no, I just haven't figured myself in. I'm like, okay. And part of me is like, I don't know if I should work with you. I don't know if I'm going to give you my money, if you're going to take off with it, or if I could trust you with, what you're telling me. So things like that, even if it's a small card with your name and your business name, should bring some stability of, who you are. It's like, okay, I've been in business for 50 years. Okay, good. So what's the company name? Oh, it's just my name. Or, it's XYZ. Like, oh, do you have a business card? No, I don't. I just here, write my number. I was like, okay. It's like, it just conveys someone that really doesn't put an effort into their company. And now if you're new in the tax business, why you should care is because first impressions count. So what type of impression are you giving out? Do you want to get more clients and referrals? Do you want to send out from the rest of the tax companies in your area? I did a quick search around here in Dallas of tax companies, and I was laughing. I should have taken a screenshot, and there were 5 different tax companies in one lot. There was Jackson Hewitt, and 3 mom and pops, and I forgot what the other one was. And they're competing. Who do I go with? And when I looked at the street view, it was the one that stood out was obviously Jackson Hewitt, because they had their logo and everything plastered outside, and the other guys were probably, under the shadow of Jackson Hewitt. So, and number 4, networking arenas, how you're presenting yourself at. So it goes back to what I said before. So importance of branding. You can business people to purchase your service. I'm not saying you go and buy all these things so you're branding your business. No, this is just an example. Number 2 is helps customer remember your business. And we're going to see that in one of the case studies that I'm going to show you. It also boosts employee morale. We had a client where they did a logo for their company, and everyone was wearing the logo. And I remember one of the employees said, "Oh, finally, now we feel like a company." And to me, I was like, "Really? But you've been in business forever." It's like, now it looks like I belong. And I was like, "Oh," and it struck a note. I was like, "Wow, it brings unity." And then last but not least, add continuity in marketing. So stability. So when you start doing ads, you start doing promotional stuff, and your logo is everywhere, people are going to recognize it. I got a quote for you guys. You've got to think about the big things while you're doing the small things, so that all the small things go in the right direction. I thought this is a really good quote, because sometimes we feel like we need to do all these grandiose things, and sometimes it might be some of the smallest things that we could do in our business that could just catapult our business to a new direction. So case study number 1, Pronto Income Tax. So yes, I have known Andy for many, many years, but I also known Jesse as well. I think even before Andy. And when they came to me for the logo, for the Pronto logo, I remember Jesse's like, okay, we want a letter P with that says speed. I was like, to me, it kind of threw me off. I'm like, okay, why was, well, Pronto, because it means fast. Like, well, fast, like you're going to do a good job, or fast, like, no, that means fast. And we've been, in business since 1965, and started telling me the story. And I was like, okay, let's see what we could come up with. So after many drafts, we came up with this P, with the letter P, and the three little bars that kind of like signify that speed. Because initially I wanted to put flames and make the P look like it's speeding through a racetrack, and they didn't like that. So eventually it ended up being like this, the logo, which they're using till this day. So one of the things that they've been doing for the past couple of years is doing mailers to their clients, and in the mailer they'll do an income tax checklist. So everything has orange, everything has their logo, everything has their branding, and each obviously Pronto income tax is different from Pronto tax school. So when Jesse and I, when we do this every year, we're like, okay, let's see, what are we going to do this time? And we sit down and we implement new tactics to reach out to the people, and to them it's a more effective marketing tool, because people expect this checklist, because they bring this checklist to their appointment and they love it. So, and that's worked for them. But another thing that that we worked on was a mascot. We went through a penguin, we went through, I don't know how many mascots, it became a zoo, but we narrowed down to Pronto the Puma. And what's the purpose of a mascot or a cartoon character of a puma? And sometimes your ideas might sound weird or not conventional, but when you sit down and when I sit down with clients and I see where they're going, it's like, okay, I get it. And with them, one of the issues that they were having is that they were having kids run around the office when their parents would come in and bring in start doing their taxes, and didn't have anyone to babysit. So they wanted something that they could, sit down and draw. And we developed a coloring sheet, as simple as it looks like, as simple as, we did this, and it's worked for them, because they give this along with some crayons. The kids are busy while they're helping the parents. So, and it also showed, one of the things that they told me that the parents comment is like, oh, wow, I didn't, kind of like, you're thinking about us. You're thinking, you're thinking about my kids. You're thinking like, okay, so they're not, running around the whole office. It's like they're busy doing this. So it was a very interesting project to take on, and how they implemented a mascot, and it actually worked. Case study 2. Hopefully David is here today. I don't know if he is or not, but I love this one. David Forney, when he came to me, it's like, okay, I want a new logo. I don't have his old one. I forgot what it looked like, but we were sitting down, not sitting down, we were talking over the phone, and he was explaining to me that he's starting this business of mobile tax. He goes to people's homes, does their taxes, it's mobile. He's like, I need a logo that represents that. I was like, oh, great. Okay, what should we do? So I asked him what colors. I like green. Obviously, a lot of the logos do contain green, because it's, same as money, or it's more professional, and we'll talk about that later. And we came up with something like this: fast, the little document icon on the logo, and it's great. It worked out. But what I commend David is this. He took it upon himself and plastered the logo everywhere, not only on his business cards. He did door hanger, flyers, and everything, even on the shirt. When we went to the event, he was wearing that all the time. He was wearing something with his logo. Why was he doing that? Because, he is representing his company. And one of the things that he told me, going to the next slide, he card wrapped his car with his logo. And it makes sense for him. I wouldn't have thought of that. And it worked. And it worked. And people go up to him and they tell him, it's like, oh yeah, I've seen your car. And yeah, he's creating the constant visual to people around the town. It's like, oh, that guy that does mobile tax, oh, that car, I've seen him around. So is that repetitiveness of seeing this tax guy that goes to people's homes and prepares taxes. And that's his niche. That's his business. And it's worked. It's worked for him. And he's taken that upon himself and really branded himself. And I loved what he did.
Karen, you know what's missing on his car? It's his telephone number.
No, what he decided to do is the QR code. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the little square that's on the side, let me go back. Where it says scan here, contact us, telephone number. It has a telephone number, but he did that so when people they could just take a picture of it. They're taking a picture of the car, but they're also taking a picture of the little QR code. So it takes them directly to the appointment site. Well, no. It downloads his business card directly to their phone.
Okay.
So it worked. It's worked, and I love it, and I give him props for what he did. So, case study 3, SBR taxes and more. A couple of years ago, they came up to me and they wanted a logo that they were like, okay, we do taxes, but we also do Spanish. How do we do this? How do we combine both of them? And it was like, okay, well, your primary clients are English, so let's do the logo SBR taxes and more. That's your initials. When it comes to naming stuff, you could do whatever you want. It could be your initials, but also include what you do. Like going back to mobile taxes is tax filing at your front door. It kind of like a tagline, and that, describes what he does. So going to SBR, they do taxes and more. They do notary public, they do bookkeeping, translations, and everything. But one of the things that we also did, because they have a storefront, we did some signage outside really big, because we're in a main street over there in Hawthorne, I believe. And, we came up with something like that to bring attention, to bring people to go into the business. And then this is their business card, social media. It worked out. Case study number 4, financier. The financier, they have a specific niche, and it's mostly for families, financial health, and he does CFO, and one of the things that he wanted, he's like, I wanted something clean, something that says money, but not too out there. And we came up with something like this, and they're happy. Side note: when you guys, whatever you guys decide to do with your logos, with your branding, do it for your social media, and also update your social media. Keep it separate from your personal. That's what I would like to say, because people mix them both, and then people say, oh yeah, go to my Facebook, and it's like, I don't want to see your pictures of vacation. I want help on taxes. And some people don't know how to, or they don't separate that, and they might lose business because they can't find information on how to call or where to contact them. So that's one of the most very important things to update your LinkedIn. I didn't do a slide on this. Update your LinkedIn account with a good, decent headshot, not a club photo. Your Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, whatever whoever your clientele is, go toward that. If you're having young people, you do W-2s. Okay, TikTok might be your thing. To other people, it might not be. So, one of those, things that you have to sit down and see who your clients are. Other tax companies, stuff that I've done for, it just brings a professional look to their stationery, to their business cards, and so on and so forth. One of the things that I worked with Pronto Tax was doing a brand identity, because obviously we use a Pronto P and became Pronto Tax School. And one of the things I've done for clients as well is this branding guide. And it helps with when you get to that point of, okay, I have someone that does my marketing, that does my ads. It could be your cousin, it could be your little nephew or whatever, but at least, they have, one of the things that we do is create a style guide that basically just describes them. Okay, this is how I want my logo. Don't change it. So it brings continuity, it brings stability, so it doesn't switch back and forth. One of the things that a lot of people do is like, they'll have a logo and all of a sudden they switch it up from time to time, and people, they kind of lose track of where you're at with your logo and your brand. So talks about typeface, just the brand, the logo that the type of logo that I use, the colors, the shield, where not to use it, how not to use it, changing the typeface. You don't want to do that. How later on we had supplemental logos for a podcast, which we'll be updating soon. And one of the things that we also wanted to convey is like, how did the brand style come to be? One of the things that we focus on is because the logo type is well known to the core audience of Pronto Tax School. It revitalized the brand identity to turn up the visibility volume and increase the impact of all touch points, and so on and so forth. Attributes: well established, stable, 53 years of tax preparation. This is back in 2018. Highest quality, provided accredited high quality learning sources, advanced, innovative, using best of breed tax course technology and feasibility, accessibility, successful, providing the course designed for the average Joe, but a big return on investment. And we talk about colors. Why did we choose orange? And because it stands out, and so on and so forth. So that's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, you want to sit down or have a chat, that's my contact number, and that's it.
Karen, let's talk about impressions for a second.
Sure.
Many years ago, 7 impressions was plenty, right?
Yes.
However, as time passed, it's now more than 7. Do you know about how many impressions it takes before you get a client in your office?
I heard it's around the same number, or it could be more, depending, because we're living in a fast-paced society, and people are just scrolling up and down. They're more on social media than anything. But that's what I said, depending on who your clientele is. If your clientele is a group, you cater to a senior citizen home center, what are your impressions? How are they? Okay, ads on newspapers. And some people do ads on newspapers, and that does work. Social media, it depends on how much, you bombard them with and how many impressions it takes. For a beginning
person, how many things should they try before their first or second season, let's say? Yeah. What do you suggest they try? Like 1 thing, 3 things, and what are those things?
I would say try the social media because it's free. You can start doing that. Start doing simple things that don't cost money. Once you start, getting traction, then you start investing in advertising and stuff like that. But just a simple groundwork stuff, whether it's networking events, whether it's being at a city hall or doing things like that, or just word of mouth referrals. Giving someone a business card. Or one of the things that we did with Pronto Tax, income tax, is they would do the $20 referral, and they would give it to them. Hey, give this to one of your clients, you get $20, and it works. Those are simple things that you could do that don't require much, but that can be effective.
Okay. Anybody else have questions?